Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be changing the headlight bulbs in my 2020 Dodge Challenger Hellcat. We'll be installing these. But before we begin, please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notifications to get all the videos coming to you. Alright, so we're going to be installing the Sylvania Silver Star ZXE headlight bulbs. I picked these up off Amazon. They were about $60. You might be able to find them at your local AutoZone or Advanced Auto. Checked mine and they didn't have any, so I just ordered them off Amazon. My Hellcat didn't come with hardly any options, so it just came with the stock halogen headlight bulbs, and they kind of have that dull yellowish look. So I decided I'm going to try to upgrade to these and see if that helps. I've heard that these have a little bit more of a bright white look to them, but we'll actually test it out today and we'll find out. I'll get some before shots of what the headlights look like with the garage door closed in the dark, and then we'll swap out one of them. We'll check it out, see what it looks like in comparison, and then I'll show you once we get both of them installed and we'll see what it looks like. So here's what it looks like with the stock halogen bulbs. Now, on video, they actually look a little more whiter than they actually are. So in person, they're a little bit more yellow. And hopefully on the comparison, it still turns out good. Sadly, one's going to be on the wall and then one's going to be on the door. But hopefully that doesn't mess with this too much. We'll begin. All right, first thing we're going to do is disconnect the battery, which you open up the cover on the bottom and the back, and the battery is right there. Now, anytime I work with anything electrical, I always disconnect the battery just to be safe. That's not necessarily something you have to do, but I always do it. All you need is just 10 millimeter, and you're going to disconnect the. Oh, can't get that focused. That's a 10 millimeter. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect the battery. So now that we got that done, I'm going to kind of move it, tuck it out of the way to where it's not going to touch an arc or anything. And we'll go up front and we'll start taking off these panels. So these are the panels that you're going to remove. You're going to remove this one, and there's one on this side. So easy to remove. You just got to move this handle out of the way, pull this one up, and you just start lifting up on it. And as you're pulling out, you want to kind of angle it. You have a tab right there, and then there's one at the back here. You can see there's one tab, and there's the other. Both of them right there. That's all that's holding it. And then there's a few tabs right here. I'm going to place this out of the way. This one removed, same way. I'm going to tilt it, pull it out. Alright. So I have small hands, so it's probably going to be easy for me to actually get my hand down in there. But you have to actually remove, let's see if I can get a, there we go. You have to remove this cap here. So if you have bigger hands, it'd be a lot easier to take out the air intake and stuff. You have a lot more room. This side, there's not really anything you can take out of the way, but you have access right there, and then you also have access down to here. Let me reposition the camera and we'll get started on this side. Alright, so here's the tab you're going to remove right there, and the driver's side will move towards, twist it towards the outside of the car, and it'll pop out. That's all it looks like right there. It's just got a little twist lock. And now you have access to the actual light. Alright, even with small hands, I still can't get in there. And as you can see, I already tore up my hand because of this bolt right here It's extremely sharp on the bottom. So I'm actually going to take out the intake. And I grabbed a long extension, need an 8mm. So we'll go ahead and do this one first. For down here, that's going to be an 8mm as well. This is kind of a long bolt. I think we got it. Try to do this with one hand. All right. Yeah, that's a long bolt. Now let's loosen this up. Hopefully that's loose enough. And you're gonna wanna pop this piece off right here, kind of move it out of the way. And I believe that's all it should be holding this. I'm hoping. All right, let me assess the situation and put the camera down real quick. See if there's anything else holding it in. It's a little more work than I thought. So I took out those two bolts right there. That gets the coolant reservoir loose. Kind of gives you a little more playroom. And something I probably should have did, but I didn't do it on the removal. I might have to do it on the install. You got 3 screws right there that actually hold this intake on. And that actually give you access to, let me get a light in here for you. Actually do that right there. So right there is where your headlight intake tube comes through. As you can see, it's held in by 4 tabs. So you might have to take that air filter off to get these 4 tabs loose. I was able to do it without removing it, but installing could be a different story. So I'm gonna move all this stuff out of the way and get back to the headlight bulb removal. Got the bulb out. Now this is something you want to do before you actually remove the bulb. You can get the bulb out with the electrical connector connected, but it's a little more difficult. But all it is a little tab. Just disconnect that. Let me set this in here. I'll show you a comparison of the new one and the old one. There we go. So on the right's the old one. The new one's gonna be on the left. Let me try to get a shot in here for you. So that's where the bulb goes right there. There's a little metal tab. And it does have to go in a certain way, so you have to line up your tabs. Once you get it inserted, you have to take and twist it. And once I install it, I'll let you know which way it needs to twist. I can't remember when I was removing it. Got the driver's side in. Now if you look at it, you can see there's 2 smaller tabs, and then there's a big tab. So for the driver's side, the big tab is going to face towards the outside of the car, and you'll put the bulb in and you're going to twist it this way. Let me take and set this down. Let's see if I can show you what it looks like with it installed. You can see we got it all connected up through trial and error. Connect the electrical connector before you put the bulb in. I tried to do it and it wasn't working for me. It's a lot easier connecting it before you install it. Let me get this battery hooked back up and I'll show you a little comparison of them. Okay, moment of truth. All right, so it looks like it's coming through on the video. It definitely is in person, I can tell you that. But you can tell the right side has more of a yellowish look compared to the new Sylvania on the left. It does have a brighter white light to it. Like I said, it's not the best comparison just because they're on 2 different backgrounds. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this battery disconnected and do the passenger side, and we'll look at them when they're finished. Alright, so I'm going to try to do this one-handed and in a tighter spot, just so I can try to get you all a better view. It's going to twist on the passenger side, it's going to twist towards the inside of the car. That out of the way. And this one, I'm going to twist this towards the outside. Oh, it's hard to do it from this angle. Alright, so I'm gonna have to put the camera out of the way. I'm not gonna be able to do it this way. I'm gonna have to get access where I have the camera at. Alright, so I got the passenger side in. I tried to video record with one hand and work with the other hand in the tight spot, but it just wasn't working out for me. And I looked back on the video and you just see my hand the whole time, so it really wouldn't matter anyways. But I'll show you what they both look like. You can tell they are pretty bright. Let me actually turn the lights on. Let's see what we can do for the brights on it. They are pretty bright. Alright, so now we got both headlights done. Hopefully that's a good comparison on video. I guess we'll find out whenever I post this video. But now all we gotta do is just throw the air intake back on with the headlight inlet tube here. And these are gonna be two 8mm. And then you'll have these back here for the coolant reservoir. They're 10mm right there and there. So hopefully I don't have to actually take the air filter out of the box to get the headlight inlet tube in. But I'm actually going to have to put the camera down for this, but I'll follow up after I get it installed. Okay, so I'm not even going to try to fight it. I'm just going to remove these 3 screws. I think it'll be a lot easier that way. So I bought this Craftsman kit. It's 25 piece. I'll try to get the link for it. I know I got it, I believe it was at Lowe's. And it was a while back when I bought it. But out of this, you're going to use the T25 bit out of it. So let me get this removed and then we'll start installing the airbox. Okay, 3 screws are out. And also I saw there's a little tab that's on the bottom, and you just have to slide it forward and drop it out, and that lets the air filter actually drop out of the airbox itself. Let me readjust the camera and we'll get started again. Okay, so I got the camera placed as good as I can, and what we're going to do now is we're going to get this air filter attached to the airbox. Just remember, whenever you're installing it, you got your tab that's down here, and you're going to have 3 screws on this side, and that's going to be that T25 bit that you're going to use for that. So whenever you're installing it, you want to kind of go down at an angle, find that tab right there, push back on it. Alright, so we got the airbox down in there, and we got the tube. It's kind of halfway attached. I got the airbox pulled out a little bit. Hopefully it'll make it a lot easier to actually tighten these screws down on the air filter itself. Just remember, whenever you're installing it, you got this tab that's down here. Just make sure you get into that, and you'll slide it back. I'm going to try to get these screws lined up and temp install them, and then I'll go through and tighten them all down. So you're probably gonna have to move the air filter around like I'm having to do to actually get all these lined up. The toughest is probably gonna be right here because it's next to this clamp. Hopefully I can get to it. All right. Start with this top one. So there's that one. I'm just going to go through and incrementally tighten these. And for the one that's down here near the clamp, I don't know if you can see it or not, it's down here. I'm going to take off my long extension and use the short extension for it. My light is not cooperating with me today. Just be sure to hold that tab right there I was talking about earlier as you're tightening these down so it doesn't slip out. Got everything lined up correctly. That's good. Remember, this is plastic it's going through, so you don't have to get them really, really tight. Just kind of snug them down. And I'm going to try to stay out of the view while I try to actually get this thing down in here. And with the headlight intake tube, there's going to be a little notch on the top. And I don't want to move the camera because it's hard to position the camera like that. But if you look right down in there, you'll be able to see it if you're doing the work. Just make sure that tab's lined up. And you can pull your air tube down, slide it in there. And go ahead and move that up. And look at looking down at the bottom, there's kind of a triangle area. And it looks like we got everything lined up. And I'm just gonna have to get the rest of this tube on here and I'm gonna loosen that up and make it a lot easier. Okay. Hopefully that'll help me. Oh yeah. Oh, it's way easier. Looks like we got it all lined up correctly. Just make sure you got your tube hooked up to your air box flush, and there's also a little tab up top here you'll be able to see whenever you're working on it. Alright, feels like the bottom's good. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten down this clamp, and then I'll start with the air box bolt. Alright, get that snug. Now next, you can put your bolt in up here. Looks like it's pretty much lined up. And this is that long bolt, so it takes a little bit to tighten it down. All right. So we got our air filter and air box installed. Get this camera right quick. And all we got left now, these two bolts here. They're 10 millimeters, so I'm gonna go ahead and get those installed, and I'll get back with you. All right, so we got everything installed. Here's where your headlight tube goes in. I'll try to get this to focus for you guys so you can see this tab that's in here. You can kind of see it. Anyways, right there in the middle of the screen, there's that tab that you have to line up, and that'll allow your other latches to go through and snap in. There's that's in. We got our 8mm bolt tightened down. Got the 8mm clamp bolt tightened down. Our 3 T25 screws are installed. Everything's lined up nicely. And also on the coolant reservoir, there's your 10mm bolt there and there. And then this little hose right here will go in and snap in right there. Now I already got this panel on, and while you have all this stuff off, it's good just to take and clean the area. My car only has about 1,000 miles on it, so it wasn't too dirty. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this last panel on. Remember, you just kind of go in at an angle. Try to do this one-handed. There we go. That one put in. There we go. Snaps in like that. You're gonna move your hood latch over so you can tuck this underneath. And make sure everything's snapped down. And there's all that. So hopefully this video helped you guys out if you're thinking about upgrading your headlight bulbs and not considering spending a lot of money and doing the full LED lights. I might still do it down the road, but these will do for now. I'll check up with you guys later on in my videos. for the longevity of them. Hopefully they'll last a long time. I think they're rated to go for about 50,000 hours, I think. I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's 50,000. That's gonna do it for today. Hopefully this video helps you guys out. I try to position the camera as good as I could. I know some of the camera angles are probably gonna be bad, but I'm waiting on a couple more parts to come in, and I'm gonna make a video later this week, give you a little sneak peek of what's going on. There you go. So remember, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notifications, and we'll see you next time.